What's Crack-A-Lackin? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome into the episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleazebomb. Today, we got to dive into the Kickers top 10 rankings plus 3 streamers here. You guys thought I forgot about you, but no, it was the trade deadline, so it made me hold up all the videos we're doing. That was absolute madness, man. Jacoby Myers traded, Sauce Gardner traded, Quinnen Williams traded, the Saints get offensive lineman and Penning. We also have a Donai Mitchell that goes to the Jets as well in that big trade. I mean, Luke Musgrave gets a little value here with the Green Bay Packers as well because they didn't get a tight end. I mean, what a madness there was, and Breece Hall did not get traded. And I got to give the Jets, man, A+ for that trade. They fleeced people, man. Sauce Gardner for 2 firsts, Quinnen Williams for a second and a first. The rebuild's looking nice for the Jets. And it just wheels up for Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson. I think they're major winners from the trade deadline there. Trevor Lawrence as well, getting Jacoby Myers to go with all the weapons they have out there. And, man, Rashid Shaheed, Sam Darnold just to the moon. But before we dive into the kickers and defenses, guys, I had to talk about that for a little bit here. If you haven't tapped that like and subscribe, make sure you do. Help your boy out. Hit that subscription button. Turn that bell on. I'll be live on Thursday for the first show of the week for Start Sit. And if you guys haven't checked out the sponsor, drafters.com, make sure you sign up using promo code SLEAZE. And then we have the guys FF Discord here as well. Both those are pinned in the comments in the description of the video. We help everyone 24/7 off stream with Big Draft Energy for fantasy football content. Now let's dive into my top 10 kickers plus 3 streamers for you heading into week 10 here. So if you guys are new to the channel, this is my kicker board here. We're going to have kicker tier 1 at the top, kicker tier 2 below that, and then we're going to do 3 kicker streamers. And remember, these are new because I used to do kicker and defenses combined. Now I do them separately to give you guys a couple more options. And we do still have 4 teams on a bye. So the streamer options are still tough. We still have the Browns, the Jets, the Eagles, and the Bucks that are out this week. But so when we dive into this, what we look for is high implied point total games. We look for division grunge matches. We look for defenses in the red zone. And now we get to look at a couple trade deadline plays that might open up a couple plays here as well this week. So the kicker number 1, Brandon Aubrey, who's always been up there, missed that 70-yarder, that quick field goal attempt. He's not going to be here this week. It is going to be Cameron Dicker, the kicker for me, number 1. I mean, he's always number 2 behind Brandon Aubrey for me. Anyways, the Chargers in the matchup they're going to get this week is going to be Sunday Night Football versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the over-under for this game, and I thought the Steelers would trade for a wide receiver, man. So only 44.5. I do think that's going to go over. I think the Steelers' offense is getting underrated, but their defense played better last week. So when you're looking at the matchup versus Steelers as well, though, they are also, if you look at it, 28th versus the kicker, allowing 9.38 points per game. You know the Chargers offense with Justin Herbert and all these wide receivers is flying around, and I like Dicker as my kicker number 1 this week. Kicker number 2, the guy that outscored Jahmyr Gibbs and wide receivers combined with him, Kaimi Fairbairn, coming off the monster game last week. And what I'm looking for here with this game, we got to hope that CJ Stroud is out there, right? And concussion protocol, their season's kind of on the line at 3-5. I do think CJ Stroud is going to make it through protocol and be out there. If it's Davis Mills, I'd probably drop him down a little bit. But we also got to look at the Jaguars side. So they're at home. They're facing the Jags. The over under 37.5. So it's very low. That's what you kind of grunge game that I'm talking about that I'm looking for. And when you look at the Jags, BTJ ankle sprain, Travis Hunter IR, Brenton Strange IR. So this is one of those games where every single point is going to count. We don't know if BTJ is even going to play. And you just saw Kaimi Fairbairn get 18 points last week. I mean, what's saying to stop him again? We know the Texans' offense struggles in the red zone. We know the Jags' run D is good. We know they're good in the red zone as well. Their defense has stepped up a lot this year. So Kaimi Fairbairn is a monster play for me this week at number 2. Number 3, coming off the bye, is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And again, they're going to get a very tough defensive matchup here. The over-under is at 48.5 against the Patriots, 7-2 versus 6-2 monster game here. And just look at how good this Patriots defense has been versus the run. They haven't allowed a 50-yard rusher all year long, which is bonkers. So, yeah, if you get Bucky Irving back, that's what they need. You know, hopefully Chris Godwin is well off the bye here. I haven't seen the update on him yet, but we know Mike Evans is down probably till like the fantasy playoffs at this point with a shoulder injury. So when you're looking at Chase McLaughlin here and you're looking at the New England Patriots defense, they're a damn good defense. They buckle down when it comes to the red zone, so you got to like Chase McLaughlin here, especially in a high implied point total game here. Kicker number 4, stick with that same game. Chargers defense, we're going with the Chris Boswell. This guy just kicks all the time, top 5 kicker almost every single week. You know, even when you look at the Chargers defense versus the kicker, yeah, they give up 8.3. They're middle of the pack right there, but 8.3 points. You take that from your kicker any single day, and Chris Boswell, you know, is a monster leg. Number 5, this one's going out on a limb here. So Will Lutz, and I know he hasn't had a monster game yet this year, right? But you're going to get the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Las Vegas Raiders, you're going to get Thursday Night Football as well. And you know it's a division AFC matchup. You know it's always kind of grungy, right? But they just traded away Jacoby Myers. So now all they really have is Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. And Genty's going to be in for a nightmare game on the ground. You're also at Mile High Stadium where the ball travels more. You got to like Will Lutz in this game. The opportunities are going to be there in bunches. The Raiders are cooked, man. This is going to be a very, very good play for Will Lutz here, and I think people are sleeping on him this week. Heading out to Tier 2, number 6. And their defense just got better with Sauce Gardner, addition, Michael Badgley. You're going to get the Atlanta Falcons. They rank 20th versus the kicker, giving up 8.8 points per game. And I don't think you're going to have that stalled out Indianapolis Colts offense that you had from last week where, you know, the turnovers were happening. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense was out of their goddamn minds. So, you know, this is the highest powered scoring offense in the league. They're going to bounce back. Michael Badgley is always going to be a good kicker. Just like Schrader was until he went down. Number 7, and this is one of my favorite plays of the week here, is going to be Cairo Santos, the New York Giants. And this is a game I'm targeting heavily. And if you saw Eddie Pinheiro last week against the Giants, they give up a ton of field goals. Their front 7 is very, very good in the trenches. The over-under is 48.5. That's a high implied point total game. And just look at the Giants. Where do they rank? 29th versus the kicker, giving up 9.5 points per game. You got the Chicago Bears offense rolling, not a lot of defense for the Chicago Bears, so they're going to have to score points at will with how beat up their defense is, and that is what you want. That's why I like Cairo Santos here. Number 8, and this one hurt me last week. I was a lot higher on Tyler Loop, but that's what happens sometimes when you have your quarterback back in Lamar Jackson, and you have an offense that's just going to score touchdowns at will. So I don't think that's going to happen every game. You are getting the Vikings on the road here. They are good in the secondary. They are good in the front. They're good versus the quarterback. So I think you're going to, and you get the dome game here as well. So you don't have any outside variables of cold or wind or anything like that. So I just got to hope with Tyler Loop, they don't score 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's all. It's like a Jake Bates situation with him, right? Like, you know, the Lions, they go for it on 4th down every single time and they just score touchdowns. So that's why it kind of hurts them, but I'm still keeping him at number 8 here and an over-under that's 48.5 with the Minnesota Vikings. Number 9, he just broke the record for the longest kick in football history, 68 yards for Cam Little. And this matchup, I would put him a lot higher if I just knew who was out there for the Jags, right? So the Houston Texans defense is absolutely lights out. Like one of the best defenses in football. They've earned that name. It's just, you know, is it going to be Parker Washington? You know, Jacoby Myers, yeah, they traded for him, but he doesn't have any chemistry. He doesn't know the system. He's coming in, you know, I would say they signed Jacoby Myers because all the drops that BTJ and all the drops that Trevor Lawrence has had so many drops this year, and this is your sure-handed receiver in Jacoby Myers. Still, I don't think it's going to be that impactful in the first game in a very tough matchup. So I really like the kickers in this game. I just wish like I had the update on BTJ to know if he's out there because that would probably move Cam Little up for me a little more here. Number 10. Eddie Pinheiro, my San Francisco 49ers. You're going to get the LA Rams here. The Rams, they rank middle of the pack at 18th, giving up 8.4 points. Pinheiro has been absolutely lights out. We're hoping we get Brock Purdy back. We're hoping we get Ricky Pearsall back. That would maybe move up Pinheiro a little more here, but it is early in the week. But still, I don't think Pinheiro's on many wires right now, so he's got to be in the top 10 either way. And with how the 49ers offense and Shanahan moves, he's always a start. Now, these are the deep dives here because we're diving into, you know, what we look at as streamer plays if they're on your waiver wire. So how I kind of look at them, right? So Jason Myers, still on a couple waiver wires of mine. You got to like him versus the Arizona Cardinals this week. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett's going to be out there for the Cardinals. He was just named the starter. The over-under is 45.5. You're at the 12th man. You know that this is, and they just got the addition of Rashid Shaheed, which is going to elevate their offense even more with Sam Darnold. So Jason Myers, possible big play kicker here this week. And when you look at the Arizona Cardinals, they give up 9 points a game, ranking 22nd to the kicker. So it's a very nice addition this week. Another one of my streamers is going to be Andy Borregales. But again, it was like last week. They just scored touchdowns, man. And that's what happens when you have a good offense. So sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. You know, you're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, they give up a lot of touchdowns as well. They also give up 8.3 points to the kicker a game, middle of the pack, ranking 14th. And you just got to hope, you know, it's kind of like this Badgley, Tyler Loop, Jake Bates type situation here. You just got to hope they don't score. You got to hope they get put into a field goal position because this offense is always going to be moving the ball. Now, last but not least, Matt Prater. I don't know if Tyler Bass is even going to make it back at this point. You get the Buffalo Bills, you get the Miami Dolphins, right? And again, another one of those situations. The Dolphins do rank 25th versus the kicker, but that's a lot of PATs that they give up as well. So, like, are we going to get, 7 points from PATs for Matt Prater? Are we going to get a couple field goals here and the Dolphins defense gets a stop? They still kept Minkah Fitzpatrick to the trade deadline. They did trade away Jaden Phillips as well. So that'll hurt their run game even more that they couldn't stop. So I got the Bills in just a blowout here, but like you're hoping that maybe you get one kick and like 5 touchdowns in an 8 to 9 point game from Matthew Prater this week. And those are my 3 streamers to go along with my top 10 kickers. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is my top 10 kickers for you guys. If you need to pick them up off the waiver wire or the streamers, those are my guys this week. As always, guys, on your way out, if you haven't already, make sure you tap that thumbs up, hit that subscription button, turn that bell on. It helps me out a ton. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support this season. And if you guys have any questions, comments, as always, drop them down below. I try to answer every single one of them. It is becoming a nightmare between Twitter and YouTube combined, but I promise you I'll try to get to them the best that I can. And then if you haven't checked out drafters.com or the guys FF Discord, they are both pinned in the top of the comments and the description of the video. My next episode is going to be my top 10 defenses plus 3 streamers. Again, I had to wait for this trade deadline because, man, I had the Jets D as a streamer, and all of a sudden they trade away their 2 best pieces, so that's going to be gone. But that'll be my next episode, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I'll catch you in the next one. Sleazebomb out.